One of the things that is going to come up in this class later is the idea of using motives and leitmotifs throughout a whole film. Now, what that means is, and we'll talk more about that later, but I just kind of want to introduce it now. The idea is that we have some ideas that carry through the whole film. Let me give you an analogy. An analogy would be like the main character. The main character might be in the whole movie, but he changes, right? They go through something, and that's the whole point of the movie. And musically, we might have a single idea that we keep reusing, but change to kind of follow the change of the character. So that motive could be a melody. It could be a piano riff like you saw in the film I showed you a couple of videos ago. That piano riff I just kept using over and over, but changed it as the movie progressed so that it kind of kept the audience going with it. Another thing that could work, and often does work, is a mode. So we know the musical modes. If you've taken some of my other music theory classes, you've looked at the modes. Now remember, there are 7 modes. They each have a slightly different sound. The modes are basically a scale that's a little bit different than a major or a minor scale. And they have different kind of feelings to them. For example, klezmer music. Let's say you need to come up with a scene where you're writing klezmer music. Now, if you don't know anything about klezmer music, the one thing that you ought to find is that a lot of it is based around the Phrygian mode. Slight disclaimer, it's more complicated than that. There are a lot of different modes used in klezmer music, but if you just want to write some stuff that sounds like klezmer music really fast, you can kind of fake it by just using Phrygian for the whole thing. Phrygian is the mode. This is what it sounds like. Klezmer music is often associated with the Jewish faith, and it's used a lot. And in fact, there's one very famous scene where it gets used kind of out of context, but it's really interesting. Let's actually look at it really quick. In this scene, this is obviously Star Wars, and the famous cantina scene. What we're hearing is a variation of klezmer music. It makes no sense in like this, long ago in a galaxy far, far away world. But this was just something cool that the composer and maybe the director had a say in this too, wanted to do. Is in this scene, he wanted to have it kind of an essence of klezmer music. So that's what they did. They used instruments related to klezmer music and the modes related to klezmer music. So a mode can carry through the whole film. It doesn't in Star Wars. Let me just put that out there. But often we'll pick a mode and we might stay with it through the whole film and use it as a theme. If all the music is using the same mode, that can kind of help glue it together a little bit. It's not something that always happens. It's not something that you need to do. But it is a good tactic to consider. So keep that in the back of your head as we move forward and we start looking at different examples and how different music works in a film. Think about if a mode would work for whatever project that you're faced with.